All right, buckle up for a deep dive that might just make us all a little envious.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, today we're going to be looking at the world Generation Beta is predicted to inherit.
Sounds promising.
Yeah, a world that could seem like, I don't know, a utopia compared to what we're dealing with now.
I see, I see. And what's our source material for this somewhat daunting exploration?
Well, we're taking a look at this article. It's called, get this, Why Generation Beta Was Actually Born at the Perfect Time.
That title alone, that's quite a statement, isn't it?
It is, right?
Yeah.
So our mission, if you will, is to really dig into this article's predictions.
Okay.
See what they could mean for those of us who, well, aren't Gen Beta.
All right, I'm intrigued. Where do we even begin with such a bold claim?
Well, the article kicks off with a historical comparison
Okay.
that I think really sets the stage for everything else.
Okay, lay it on me.
So it compares Gen Beta to, get this, children growing up during the 1960s and 70s.
Wow. Okay, now those were some turbulent times, wouldn't you say?
They were, yeah, Vietnam War,
Yeah.
the Civil Rights Movement,
Yeah.
Watergate.
Right, exactly. It felt like the world was constantly teetering on the edge of, well, chaos.
Yeah. And yet the author of the article, they talk about their own mother's experience
Oh, interesting.
as a child during that time.
Yeah.
All right. And she was apparently totally unfazed by Nixon's resignation.
Wow. An event that, let's be honest, sent shockwaves through the adult world.
Exactly.
It's fascinating how children, it's almost like they have this innate resilience, the way they process those huge chaotic events, so different from us adults.
Right.
It's like a different perspective.
It is. It is. And that's where this article's core argument really comes in.
Okay.
So just as the turmoil of the 60s and 70s, right?
Yeah.
That sort of laid the groundwork for the, I guess you could say, the relative prosperity of the 80s and 90s. The challenges that millennials and Gen Z are dealing with right now.
Yeah. Those could actually pave the way for a brighter future for,
Sure.
you guessed it, Gen Beta.
So let me get this straight. We're the ones slogging through the mud,
Ooh, I wouldn't.
and they just get to skip through a field of flowers.
No, hold on. It's not quite as straightforward as that.
Hang on.
But the article, it does make some pretty bold predictions
Okay.
about this world that Gen Beta will inherit.
So hit me with it.
Okay, so what kind of world are we talking about?
Yeah, what are we supposedly building for these lucky ducks?
All right, so first up, the article predicts the decline,
Okay.
or even, get this, the radical transformation of social media.
Wait, are you saying they might never experience the joy of endlessly scrolling through Instagram
It's a possibility.
or arguing with strangers on Twitter?
The article cites several reasons for this potential shift. Things like political polarization, distrust of all those algorithms, and just a general kind of disillusionment with the platforms themselves.
Yeah.
And with their owners too.
I could see that. I mean, social media, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's just this constant, it's like a barrage, isn't it, of negativity and drama.
It is, and that's exactly what the article suggests Gen Beta might reject. They might try to find different ways to connect, to communicate, maybe creating online spaces that are, less divisive, more focused on genuine interaction.
So no more doom scrolling for them. I'm already starting to feel a little envious.
Yeah.
But I guess if that's the world they inherit, they're going to need the different set of social skills. Right?
Absolutely. And this is where the question of generational responsibility, that becomes really crucial. I mean, it's one thing to sort of predict a future where social media is, less toxic, but it's a whole other thing to actually prepare a generation to live in a world where those platforms don't completely dominate their lives.
So it's not just about, handing them a better world. It's about giving them the tools to actually, thrive in it.
Exactly.
Okay. So what's next? What other rosy predictions does this article have in store for us?
All right, so here's another one. The article suggests that Gen Beta will experience less pushback against social progress.
So essentially, are you saying that the culture wars that have defined so much of the current, I don't know, political and social landscape,
Yeah.
they might just fade away?
That's what the article suggests. Essentially, they predict that as progressive ideas, become more widely accepted, those culture wars might start to fade.
So all the battles we're fighting now, all the arguments over equality, over representation, they might be settled by the time Gen Beta comes of age.
Yeah.
And we're stuck, like, dealing with all the backlash, all the resistance.
It's hard to say for certain, but the article suggests, yeah, they might have, a smoother path when it comes to progress.
It's hard not to feel a little cheated,
I understand.
like we're doing all the heavy lifting, and they're the ones who get to enjoy the view from the top of the mountain.
I hear you, but remember, progress, it often comes in waves. The struggles of one generation, they can often create kind of the momentum for change in the next one.
Okay.
So it's like we're building the foundation. They get to build on top of it.
I suppose there's a silver lining in there somewhere.
There is.
Yeah, okay. What else? What else does this article predict? Anything else that's going to make me feel incredibly old and resentful?
Well, this one might be the one that really stings.
Okay, hit me.
For, those of us who are struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah.
The article suggests that Gen Beta, they might have access to more affordable housing options.
Oh, seriously. Affordable housing in this economy. Okay. No way. I'm officially calling shenanigans on this one.
Now the article, it does acknowledge that this is, a pretty bold prediction.
It is.
But they do point to several factors that could potentially drive this shift. Things like lawsuits that challenge, current housing practices. Okay.
Market crashes that might force us to kind of reevaluate property values. Or even another Great Depression.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. Look, I get it. Brighter future for Gen Beta and all, but do they really need affordable housing on top of everything else? I mean, where's the generational balance in all of this?
Well, it's certainly a stark contrast. You're right to the realities that many millennials, Gen Z, are facing.
Yeah.
But, the article's point is that these potential shifts, they're not about, fairness or entitlement.
Yeah.
It's about the cyclical nature of progress. It's about the unpredictable ways in which social and economic forces, they can really reshape the landscape for those future generations.
I get it. Progress isn't always linear. And sometimes the pendulum swings in unexpected directions.
Yeah.
But still, affordable housing. Oof. That one's going to be a tough pill to swallow.
It is. But it's a good reminder, I think, that the world is constantly changing.
And that the challenges of one generation, sometimes they can lead to, unexpected opportunities for the next.
Okay. I'm trying to keep an open mind here.
Good.
What else does the article predict for our Gen Beta overlords?
All right, so it also observes this trend of minorities migrating away from those expensive coastal cities. They're integrating into middle America.
Really? So they're not just inheriting a better world, they're also inheriting a more diverse world.
Potentially, yes. The article's author even shares an anecdote about seeing more mixed-race grandchildren in rural Georgia. And it raises some intriguing questions about how these demographic shifts might reshape the social and political fabric of the country.
Right. So will Gen Beta's Middle America be more politically diverse? Will it be like a true melting pot of cultures and ideas?
Those are excellent questions. And they highlight how these predictions in the article, they're not just about, individual benefits for Gen Beta. They're about broader societal shifts that could have, far-reaching implications for everyone.
Yeah. So it's not just a different world. It's potentially like a more inclusive world, a world that's more representative of the country's changing demographics.
Exactly.
That's a pretty significant shift. But I have to ask.
What's that?
How are we supposed to deal with all this, like this envy?
Well, that's a valid concern, and one that we'll definitely explore in more detail as we continue our deep dive here.
Okay.
But for now, I think it's important just to acknowledge that feeling a little bit envious, it's a natural human response.
Okay.
It doesn't diminish our struggles. It doesn't invalidate the potential for, for a better future for Gen Beta. It simply means that we're grappling with the complexities of generational change.
Right.
And with the inherent unfairness that sometimes comes with it.
So we're allowed to be a little envious as long as we don't let it,
Yeah.
I don't know, like consume us.
Exactly. And perhaps, by understanding the historical context, by understanding the potential drivers of these shifts, maybe we can find a way to reframe our envy, to see it as as a source of motivation.
Okay, yeah.
A motivation to contribute to a better future, both for ourselves and for the generations that follow.
Okay, I'm willing to try.
Good.
But if I start seeing any more articles about how Gen Beta is going to inherit a world filled with rainbows and unicorns, I can't be held responsible for my actions.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It's funny you should mention rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, because it kind of brings us to another, I guess you could say, crucial point.
Okay.
This article, it kind of paints this picture of Gen Beta, like they're these passive recipients of all this good fortune, as if they'll just wake up one day and bam, they're in this perfect world without having to, well, to lift a finger.
Exactly. It's like they get a free pass to utopia while we're stuck, paying the tolls.
Yeah, but the reality is shaping the future. It's an active process. And Gen Beta, they'll have their own challenges to face, their own contributions to make.
I suppose that's true. It's easy to get caught up in that whole grass is always greener thing.
Yeah.
And forget that, every generation, they have their own obstacles.
Exactly. And that's where this concept of generational responsibility, it becomes even more, important.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just hope for a better future.
Right.
We have a responsibility to prepare the next generation to face those challenges, to make sure that they're not just inheriting a better world, but that they're also inheriting the tools to maintain it, to improve upon it.
So instead of, focusing on all our envy and resentment, maybe we should be focusing on what we can do to help Gen Beta navigate this potentially, awesome future. It's also going to be complex, right? What if social media really does decline? How will they even learn to, to think critically, to evaluate all that information? How will they even build real relationships without relying on all those platforms?
Those are great questions. They really highlight the need for, well, I guess you could say a different kind of education, one that emphasizes critical thinking, media literacy, and the development of those, those strong interpersonal skills.
So it's almost like we need to teach them how to be human again, without the constant need for all that social media validation.
In a way, yes. They'll need to learn how to navigate all those complexities of those real world relationships, how to resolve conflicts without resorting to, online flame wars, how to build communities based on shared values, not just shared algorithms.
It's a tall order, but I guess that's the responsibility we have as well, like the bridge generation.
Yeah.
We're the ones who've kind of experienced, both worlds, the analog and the digital. We understand the pitfalls of social media, but we also we recognize its potential for connection, for activism.
Exactly. We're uniquely positioned, I think, to guide Gen Beta towards, a more balanced, a healthier relationship with technology, to help them use its power for good without falling prey to its darker side.
So it's not about shielding them from all things digital. It's about giving them, giving them the tools to navigate it wisely.
Precisely. And that brings us back to the article's prediction about social progress. Even if Gen Beta does inherit this world where progressive ideas are, more accepted, they'll still need to understand the historical context of those changes.
Right.
The struggles that paved the way for their, I guess you could say, relatively smoother path.
Otherwise, they might take it all for granted.
Exactly.
They might not fully appreciate, the sacrifices that were made to get them there.
It's like inheriting this beautiful house, right? But you don't know anything about the history of its construction.
Right.
You might enjoy living there, but you don't truly understand its value.
Right.
Or the effort it took to actually build it.
So it's not just about handing them the keys to this better world. It's about giving them the blueprints.
Yes.
So they can understand how it was made and how to keep it from falling apart.
Exactly. And that applies to the whole affordable housing issue as well. Even if Gen Beta does have access to those, more affordable options, they'll still need to understand the economic and social factors that led to those changes.
Otherwise, they might just assume, right, that affordable housing is, like a given, not realizing that it was the result of policy changes, market shifts, or even, as the article suggested, this massive economic downturn that we had to go through.
You got it. They need to understand the cyclical nature of these things. The fact that what seems like a permanent fixture in their world was actually, it was hard won by previous generations.
So we need to teach them about, economic history, about the boom and bust cycles, the importance of government policies that actually, support affordable housing.
Precisely. And maybe, just maybe, by understanding those complexities, they'll be more likely to advocate for policies that ensure housing affordability for, for future generations as well.
It's almost like we're passing on a torch, not just, a finished product. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, here's this fire that we've been tending. Now it's your turn to keep it burning.
That's a great way to put it. It really highlights the ongoing nature of progress, the fact that each generation, has a responsibility to contribute to making things better, not just for themselves, but for everyone who comes after.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get the bigger picture here. It's not about, envying Gen Beta's, I don't know, their potential advantages. It's about recognizing that we have a role to play.
Yeah.
In shaping their world, in giving them the knowledge and the values they'll need to make the most of it.
Exactly. And that brings us to a really crucial question.
Okay. What's that?
Will Gen Beta even be aware of the struggles, of the sacrifices that pave the way for all of this, for their advantages? Will they even appreciate what they've been given?
Right. Or will they just kind of assume that this is how the world has always been, not realizing, the battles that were fought, the systems that had to be challenged, the sacrifices that had to be made to create the world they've inherited?
That is the question, isn't it? It highlights the importance of having an open dialogue between generations.
Yeah.
We need to share our stories, our struggles, our triumphs with Gen Beta, not to burden them with guilt or resentment, but to help them understand the historical context of their own lives.
So it's not just about, I don't know, handing down facts and figures, right?
Yeah.
It's about passing on a sense of history, a sense of gratitude, a sense of responsibility, for carrying that torch forward.
Exactly. And that's where education and storytelling become, essential tools. We need to find ways to engage Gen Beta in conversations about the past, to help them connect the dots between the world they inherit and the struggles that came before it.
We need to show them that progress isn't a destination. It's a journey, and that they have a responsibility to continue that journey, to build upon the foundation that we've laid.
And that brings us to another really important point.
Okay.
The potential for Gen Beta to actually reshape the world they inherit.
Okay.
In ways that we can't even, fathom right now.
You mean they might not just inherit our successes.
Exactly.
They might also inherit our unfinished business.
Exactly. They might see solutions to problems that we've been grappling with for decades. They might develop new technologies, new forms of social organization, new ways of thinking that could completely, revolutionize the world as we know it.
So it's not just about passing the torch. It's about giving them the freedom to, I don't know, to create their own fire, right?
Yes.
To illuminate new paths, to explore new frontiers.
Yes, exactly. And that's where finding a balance between, guidance and autonomy becomes crucial. We need to offer wisdom and support, but without stifling their creativity, without limiting their potential.
It's a delicate dance. But I think it's a dance worth attempting. I mean, after all, the future isn't just something that happens to us, right?
Yeah.
Something we create together. And who knows, maybe Gen Beta will surprise us all with their ingenuity.
Yeah.
With their ability to build a world that's even better than the one that we're striving for.
That's a hopeful thought. And one, I think we should all embrace it, because at the end of the day, the success of any generation isn't measured just by, their own accomplishments.
Right.
It's measured by their ability to create a better world for the generations that follow.
So as we continue this deep dive into Gen Beta's potential future, let's try to keep in mind that we're not just observers, we're participants.
Yes.
We have a responsibility to shape the world they inherit, to equip them with the tools and the values to navigate it, and to trust in their ability to build upon our legacy in ways we might not even be able to imagine.
That's a great way to put it. It really encapsulates the essence of this whole discussion. We're all part of this ongoing story, the story of human progress. Each generation, building upon the successes, learning from the mistakes of those who came before. And while it's natural to feel, maybe a little envious of the potential advantages that Gen Beta might have, we should also recognize that we have a really crucial role to play in shaping their world and preparing them for the challenges and the opportunities that lie ahead.
It's easy to get caught up in all the what ifs and if onlys when we're talking about all these potential, advantages for Gen Beta.
I get it. Yeah, it's understandable to feel, well, a little wistful, especially when we think about, all the challenges that we're facing right now.
But I think it's really important to remember that progress, it doesn't always follow a straight line.
Right.
There are bumps in the road, detours, sometimes, even setbacks.
Exactly. And the fact that Gen Beta might inherit a world with, well, fewer of those bumps, that doesn't invalidate the struggles that we've had to go through. It doesn't diminish the progress that we've made.
It's more like we're clearing the path for them, making the road a little smoother, even if it means, we have to go through some rough terrain to get there.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it acknowledges both the sacrifices, of the present and the potential for a brighter future.
And it kind of highlights the interconnectedness of generations. We're not separate entities competing for resources or recognition. We're all part of this continuum, each generation building on the legacy of those who came before.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah, it reminds us that progress, it isn't just about individual gain. It's about collective advancement.
So instead of looking at Gen Beta's potential advantages as something to be envious of, maybe we can, I don't know, reframe them as a testament to all the efforts of previous generations. Like, hey, look what we did. We might not get to fully enjoy the fruits of our labor, but at least we're creating a better world for those who come after us.
Yeah, that's a powerful shift in perspective, and it lets us celebrate both the progress that has been made and the potential for even more, progress in the future.
Because, let's be real, even if Gen Beta does inherit this world, a world with, less social media drama, more affordable housing, a smoother path towards social progress, they're still going to face their own unique challenges.
Absolutely. Every generation has its own, its own set of obstacles, its own defining moments that kind of shape their collective identity.
And who knows, maybe those challenges will lead to even greater innovations, to even more profound shifts in the way we live and work and interact with the world.
It's an exciting thought to think that the world that Gen Beta inherits, it's just the starting point for their own, journey of progress.
And maybe, just maybe, by focusing on the positive aspects of their potential future, by acknowledging, all the sacrifices that were made to get there, maybe we can find a way to let go of our envy and embrace, I don't know, like a sense of shared hope.
Hope for a future where each generation builds upon the successes of those who came before, where the torch of progress is passed, from one hand to the next, illuminating new paths and creating a world that's a little bit brighter, a little bit more just, a little bit more equitable for everyone.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the world Gen Beta, might inherit. It's been a fascinating, thought-provoking, and at times, I'll admit it, envy-inducing exploration of generational change and the cyclical nature of progress.
It's been great being here, and I hope our listeners found this whole conversation, as enlightening as I have.
So as we sign off, we want to leave you with this one final thought. Instead of dwelling on what we might have missed out on, let's focus on what we can contribute to this ongoing story, this story of human progress. Let's share our stories, our wisdom, our hopes with Gen Beta, not with resentment or regret, but with pride, with a belief in their ability to create a world that's even better than the one we're all striving for. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep believing in the power of collective action to shape a brighter future for all generations.